In 1966, a mysterious wooden figurine was discovered underneath an ancient trackway that would become the oldest carving of a human figure in Britain, but mystery persists over the precise purpose of the so-called God Dolly. The enigmatic ash figure, which displays prominent male and female anatomical features, was found beneath a Neolithic trackway that stretched across the Somerset Levels in what is now southwestern England. But the object is potentially far older than the trackway and could have held a ritual significance in uniting the worlds of the living and the dead. This hugely ancient artifact and the manner of its deposition and composition could also have implications for far later mythological beliefs, such as those of the Norse, as we shall see later. Dubbed the God Dolly when it was retrieved at Lias Westay Island in the Avalon Marshes, a wetland that encompasses the landscape around Glastonbury, the stout 5.8-inch carved figure has proved an enduring mystery since 1966. And there is precious little in the way of serious study on the purpose of the roughly hewn idol. But that's not to say there has been no inquiry into it. In 2010, an article entitled The God Dolly Wooden Figurine and the Somerset Levels, Britain, the Context, the Place and its Meaning, was published by Oxford-based Archaeo Press. The piece cited radiocarbon dating, which placed the deposition of the God Dolly under the track at between 2285 BC and 3440 BC. It also makes educated speculations as to why the artifact was deliberately driven into the sodden ground head first at this location. And it all has to do with the point at which the water and the land met, and what this is likely to have meant to the prehistoric inhabitants and builders of the trackway in a shamanistic, symbolic and ritualistic sense. The theory goes that this liminal space represented where the living realm of the land and the watery world of the dead intertwined. Many subsequent mythological traditions have seen water as a place of the dead, and ritual deposits or votive offerings were made in bodies of water for thousands of years. This is borne out in stories such as that of the return of King Arthur's sword to the Lady of the Lake, and in the Norse and ancient Greek conceptions of the journey to the places of the dead across the rivers Gjoll and Styx, respectively. Later traditions, such as the belief that vampires could not cross running water, also highlight the lingering power of watercourses in the elemental human consciousness. This idea of liminality was also expressed in the folkloric belief in looking through or passing through and over holes in certain natural stone formations to reach some kind of mythical other side or world. The use of ash was also suggested as a link to shamanistic beliefs and successor incorporations into Norse and other European creation myths. Ashwood figurines could have been linked with successor figures, as Ash was the first man, Askr, created by Odin and his brothers. With the previously explored deeply significant role attributed to water, it is little wonder that the concept of crossing it via a constructed pathway would be seen as a symbolic act worthy of serious ritual propitiations. The paper read, "Considered in this context, the God Dolly may well have been created to emulate a supernatural figure, a singular entity worshipped at the edge of a track, at a wet lag, an opening into a watery, supernatural realm." It added, "This landscape setting with its many wooden structures indicates a frequented location over thousands of years that was used for intermittent journeys across the wetlands to the islands, during which ritual observances by small parties included the placement of votive offerings to the watery underworld." The God Dolly was not simply a lost toy for a child, but formed part of practices coherent with other examples of later Neolithic, intentionally structured depositions elsewhere in southern Britain. The inland wetland deposition of wooden figures, as denoted by the God Dolly, appears to have had a long-standing tradition in southern Britain and form part of a broader patterning of British and Irish figurine practices. This is evidenced by the later Dagenham idol figure. The Dagenham idol could also be seen as male or female, with a small peg hole for the non-present male appendage, and it too was deposited in water. The study says the God Dolly therefore likely constituted part of a pan-European anthropomorphic or zoomorphic figurine tradition. It speculates that the God Dolly may well have been used for an extended period of time. In fact, it may even have been used for hundreds of years before being intentionally deposited. It added, it may have been damaged prior to interment, or part of rites associated with its burial in the track. Under the circumstances of interment, this practice would render the God Dolly figure a ritual piece, but as part of a practical process, rather than an individual object of veneration. The report added, supernatural agency was uppermost in the minds of the people who buried it, and participated in the contemplation and drama played out at the edge of an island looking onto a raised bog. That's it for this video. Don't forget to like, share, and most importantly subscribe. And you can also support the channel on Subscribestar via the link in the description, or via YouTube Super Thanks. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.